Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku Podcast. How's everybody doing out there? I'm Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet fan here, and I'm back Sunday, Attack on Titan time. I'm so excited to talk about this brand new episode of Attack on Titan, the final season. And of course, I don't do this by myself. I'm accompanied by the one and only Isaac Wolf. What is up, man?
It's going good. I'm just exhausted. I'm just so exhausted.
That is sadly that's been the typical thing for you for a long time, which is not a great thing. You need some rest, bud. How about I build a wall around you and you just sleep standing still for the next millennia?
Yeah, maybe that could help. I don't know.
I mean, I can only see you tearing down the walls when you wake up, right?
That sounds like me.
But guys, thank you for joining us on our new episode of the Amateur Talker Podcast. We are covering Attack on Titan. Salute to you, my good friend Per Minded. Awesome, awesome, awesome.
Hello,
Good to see you
perp.
here every Sunday. Um, if you love what we do here in the Amateur Talk Podcast, make sure you click on that like button, click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any single episode or video that we do on Attack on Titan and on any of the animes and awesome manga that we cover every single week at the Amateur Talk Podcast. If you prefer to listen to us and follow us in our podcast format, make sure to go to Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Stitcher, wherever podcasts are found, even Spotify. You can find the Amateur Otaku there. Now, Isaac, I'm not. I don't want to say it's a big episode. I think this is probably the quietest episode of the season. Um, but still a great episode. The pacing was good. I think more than anything, chapter 82's Sunset. The, it's not that the pacing was bad, but I think this is one of the slower paced episodes. Um, a lot of people could argue that not a lot happened, but a lot did happen, and I think I find it strange that um, a lot of I think I was so excited with the rumbling and everything happened. Part of me was surprised that everything went smaller and simpler, but at the same time, with the giant threats in the back burner of what's going on in the rest of the world, right? Like this was like a glimpse as into how everybody is looking at this in Paratus. And I think it was a great episode. It does. It does. And I think one of the things, Perp, thank you for mentioning that. Even though it was slower and a very different pace, it was still paced very, very well. Um, but also you can enjoy that they did what they set out to do here, and I'm really happy that we were able to get to see it. Um, so Isaac, Sunset chapter 82. Any thoughts? Anything jump to your mind? Anything in particular that you want to discuss?
I mean, when it comes to this, I honestly want to know if what's the creator's name again? I can't.
Hajime Isayama.
Isayama, thank you. If Isayama did some studying about people in coma, because the way Annie described her, so her how she has been the last couple of years, felt very realistic to some extent when it comes to,
Yeah, yeah,
because you know how people often say talk to them when they are in the coma, just see if they can wake up. It's it. I've heard that even outside of movies or television, so it's not that
yeah.
uncommon. So
Right.
I'm
The
just
idea
wondering.
that oh, go ahead, go ahead.
I'm just wondering if he did some read up about it, because it just felt so natural and realistic to that extent.
Oh no, I agree. I agree 100%. And you know what's funny that you mentioned about him studying up or reading up about it. I'm not surprised if he did a lot about the human body too, because even if you not just looking at comatose Annie, right? Which by the way, Annie's back. I mean, I think that's like a big thing. Like it was the cliffhanger of last week's chapter, and a big chunk of this chapter in particular was Annie's backstory because I don't. This is the side of Annie's story that nobody's ever seen before, right? So a lot of anime only watchers are now knowing the backstory of Annie herself. I mean, we never even got this much backstory from Bertholdt, right? But we did get it from Annie. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm really excited that we had that that reveal and the fact that there is some emotion in her story and how it changed and marked everything that she's going through. And I like that she was able to share this with Hitch, the whole the whole introspective view of her being in a comatose state and kind of like being in and out of reality because of her hardening. So it kind of makes you think like she did this as a failsafe, but she wasn't really knowing what she was getting. Like wasn't really knowing what she was doing to herself. So it makes you think like she understood that she could never like she probably didn't know how to undo it. You know what I mean? Like she took such a beating from Aaron that
yeah,
she never knew how if it wasn't because Aaron released her, she may still be in the hardening, which is interesting for us to view it that way because for the longest time we always thought that Annie did this and she just did it to protect herself. But now we know that she did it as a failsafe and she didn't know how to unharden, which is very interesting. Um, but funny that you say that about the body because you say that and I think about the nervous system and I think about the idea that when a Titan user becomes a Titan, the idea, the understanding, or at least the nuance that Isayama has to have of the human nervous system is very interesting because you got to think the reason why Titans, yeah, yeah, I don't disagree with you, Perp. There's a lot of tears and tragedy here, a lot. Yeah, and and
that's
and,
an
and
understatement.
yeah, and you got to think that's just the, and it also kind of chimes with kind of the era of the world that they're trying to replicate, which is like 1940s, 1950s, right? Or at least very primitive. At least when we got into Emir's backstory, right? It was a very violent driven world and how violence persists because of people's want for greed, power, and riches and all that. Because of course, Marley, why is Marley using the Titans? To conquer more land, right? It's not even like to
Yeah,
defend themselves. So how the cycle of power and greed, like Marley is doing the same thing that the Eldian Empire was doing, which is kind of like the whole thing about this endless cycle, which it's kind of a conversation that you hear a little bit about, especially when Armin has that conversation with Mikasa later in the episode. Um, but yeah, it's something that's very very interesting. But Isayama definitely took the time to try and understand most of the body because when you think about it, in our bodies, what is the one part in our bodies that if it gets permanently damaged, you lose complete control of your body, and that's your nervous
muscles.
system, right?
Yeah,
It's your nervous
nervous
system,
system.
which is all connected to your spinal column, specifically the area that surrounds your neck, which is pretty much the nape that the scouts have to attack to beat the Titans. If you destroy the nape, you destroy the central nervous system of the Titans. That's where the Titan users normally rest their bodies, right? So it's like, and also when you look at the marks in their faces, it looks like tendons or even nerves get attached to them, and that's how they can control the big Titan body, right? So that's like a
Yeah,
reimagining of. So Isayama did his homework, or at least has such imagination that's linked to previous knowledge. That's what makes it so interesting and so palpable. Because even if we know that this is a fantasy setting, you kind of you like Attack on Titan is one of the most grounded fantasy shows out there. Does that make sense? Like everything feels raw, grounded, real, even though we're talking about people that become giants, right? And I think that's one of the biggest things that we appreciate about it. I think it's a little bit of what we talked when we covered Demon Slayer too, right? Like Demon Slayer has this certain grounded air and essence to it, even though we are talking about samurais against demons, right? There's a little bit of that also in Attack on Titan by a lot. Whatever you guys think about this, let us know in the comments. Because I mean, we've seen it throughout the entirety of of the series, and I don't know. I think Isayama is showing us it's a master class in writing and imagining and creating a world, in my opinion. Um, so so beyond that, you brought that topic up, Isaac, the whole thing with Annie and the comatose state and Isayama learning about all that. Um, now I like the fact that this episode in particular kind of spent time focusing on how Eldians are viewing all this, but also how Eldians all over the world are viewing all this,
Yeah,
and the whole thing about the Eldians and Marley kind of understanding that they're not meant to survive this. You know what I mean? Like Aaron made it very clear that he's defending his island, which is kind of like also saying I'm defending the Eldians in my island, right?
yeah,
That's actually a good point. You saw this from Perp, Isaac?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like this angel. That's now Nephilim is an angel human hybrid, right? Is that what it is? Is that what
I
it's? I think that's what it is. Perp,
I
you would know.
believe.
You said it, Perp. So I think okay, Nephilim are mysterious beings who are large and strong. Yeah. Oh yeah, like the giants in the Bible. Yeah, I remember that now. Like in the book of Genesis, it spoke about giants called Nephilims. Yeah, I remember that. Makes sense. That could be true. I mean, again, grounded in reality or grounded in stories of reality and stuff like that. Um, but I like how this episode kind of took a moment, like to look at the common folk in Marley, and then the common folk within Paratus, and their interpretation of the facts of what's going on. And of course, all this escalating to what we see happening with Flock, which has become the cult leader of the Jaegerists. Which, by the way, if you would have told me that one of the factions in the end game of Attack in the end game of Attack on Titan was going to be the Eren Jaeger cult, I was not expecting this. I mean, it was crazy as you read it, right? But now I
Yeah,
wonder what anime only fans feel about this because it's interesting how complex and how much variety there is in terms of the perspective of how many people view Eren Yeager. Like there is no character that views Eren Yeager the same way as someone right beside him. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
everybody sees Eren Yeager in so many different lights, in so many perspectives. And to say the least, this is the third episode where third is it the third? One, two, three. Um, no, there's a second episode that we technically don't even see him. Like we don't even see Aaron at all. Not even hear from him, nothing. Everybody's talking what they think about him. Everybody's talking about how they feel about him, about what he's doing. And I find that so interesting. Um Perp Minded has more comments. It's kind of yeah, exactly. And they see him like it's like a superficial vision of the person, right? Where like nobody knows who he really is, but they know what that person is to him. Like he's either the mass murdering, he's either the genocidal maniac, or he's the savior, or he's the god, because Flock is literally treating him as a god. That's kind of like the angle that they're pushing with the whole Flock and the Jaegerists, right? Um, and I also like the whole thing with Shaddis, the Commander Shaddis, the trainer,
What
about
about what about what did you
good.
think particular? What did you
Oh,
think
about
particular?
Shadis?
Sorry.
About Shad? Yeah, about Shadis. So the whole thing about him talking about just surrendering to the powers that be, but also the idea that he's already telling them that there might be a possibility of rebellion in the future. Like like the idea of rebelling against something that you don't like or don't agree with, it's like the seed of rebellion is inside of every human being in one way, shape, or form, which is fascinating. It's like a character study, right? On the human condition and all that stuff. There's just a lot of stuff going on here. And I just found that interesting. The fact that in the middle of all this, it's like he's telling these kids, like, hey guys, you guys might want to just do whatever they say, but don't worry. Maybe you can rebel in the future and follow your dream. You know what I mean? It is just so interesting. The fact that he's able to say these words. Of course, when we're talking about a guy that kind of decided to stay stuck so that he wouldn't die. You know what I mean? Um, it's it's super cool. Um, Now, Isaac, so you mentioned the whole thing about Annie. Was there a conversation? Was there a moment? Was there anything else that blew your mind, that you considered interesting?
Well, it's going back to what we're talking about, conversations and all that jazz. It it's a tragic backstory, like Perp said, like pretty much everyone has. But I don't know why, but it had a very different hit in terms of reaction when I saw it compared to when I read it.
Yeah,
If that makes
I,
any sense.
I'm getting a lot of that. Like, there's a lot of stuff here that I've read and I felt it differently. Like, there's something when you at the voice acting and the particular direction that the directors have been using in Mappa. Like, I'm getting a lot of that. I don't disagree with you. Like, there's a lot of stuff that come more like everything's just coming on live, right? Like, it's jumping out of the page. Like, has it happened to you? Like, sometimes, like, it happened to me a lot when, like, like in Memories of the Future, um, Judgment, episodes like that. Um, to from you 2,000 years ago. There's a lot of episodes that you kind of that I kind of it was so in it was so prof- it was so powerful the way it was portrayed on screen that I forget I read it. I was just experiencing it for the first time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't just something that I read a while ago. I felt that it was just drawing me in, like a brand new fresh experience, like for the first time. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, this episode has a lot of that, especially in all those conversations and stuff like that. Interesting. Interesting. See, there's a lot happened with Armin's character. Um, like that conversation that he has with Mikasa is one of the more powerful ones, and also the way it ends. Like, so we know that Connie in the previous episode, Connie took Falco to feed Falco to his mother to save her, quote unquote, from being a Titan in the way that she is, right? Um, but of course, you got to think. I mean, is it worth sacrificing this kid? Is it worth doing this? And I think we spoke about the last time we recorded about the whole thing about Connie kind of playing the role of Aaron, or of the end justify the means, right? Um, and now
yeah.
I'm wondering, does Connie have what it takes to make that decision? Because apparently Aaron is showing us, even though we haven't seen him, that he has what it takes. He's killing thousands, millions, billions of people. I mean, of course, they haven't left Paratus, but yeah, like, you think Connie has what it takes to actually sacrifice this kid for his mom, which is something very interesting. But of course, Armin, going back to what Perp mentioned, that Armin was his favorite part of the episode. Um, the whole thing with Armin, of course, is that conversation that he has with Mikasa about everything that's going on, everything that he has to do. Like, Armin is still this man of action, that he feels that he needs to take responsibility. We know that he has this weight on his shoulders because he was the one that was brought back to life. But then, of course, you have the moment where he says it. You guys brought back the wrong guy. That's like if you thought that Armin was a downer person at some point, that is just you got to imagine this guy is has a lot of emotional baggage. That's really tough to say. You know what I mean? Like to feel that everybody's looking to you because of another person's sacrifice, and you feeling that you are letting everybody down because that's how he feels, right? What did you like that interaction? Did you like the reveal of what Armin said, or did you like the way he snapped on Mikasa? What do you think? What did you feel about all that?
Like I said earlier, it's just sort of like it very much different than uh, very much different than what it did when I read it. It just maybe it's the voice acting, maybe it's the animation. I don't know, but like you all, Luke, it just felt like I didn't. I was an anime only watcher, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, you felt it like that. Yeah. No, and it was a powerful moment too. And I think that when you see that conversation, of course, Armin is he wants to go to bed because he's so tired, but he feels he still needs to do things. So he has this drive to do the right thing and to help people and whatever. And and I like how he's decided to do what he's doing um because he wants to do something. But interestingly enough, Mikasa is still not making decisions on her own, which kind of goes back to that conversation that Aaron has with them in part one of the final season about how he hates Mikasa because she's being controlled by the Ackerman heritage, which I like that the fact that they haven't that these storylines are still operating in the background and in the bottom as we continue watching the show and um how these characters develop. Um, so Perp Mind has another comment. I think Armin or Gene is going to realize they need to take the leadership role because that's why it's so yeah, and also, and it's funny that you say that because this actually, that comment perp actually leads to what's going on with Flock. I don't want to go into that yet, but it's a good thing you mentioned that. I'll bring back the comment, Isaac, whenever we talk about Flock, because I think everything perp's saying about that, about leadership, goes very well when we talk about those scenes with Flock. Um, but um, it's kind of Isaac. I know it's tough talking about it because we read the book, right? Now, one of the things that's interesting is that I've noticed that they've edited some stuff out from a couple of episodes. Like there's a couple of chapters that I'm not seeing, which is interesting because I like how the flow of the show is going because we have like Perp said we haven't lost any pacing, everything's been good. Now, as of right now, we have what another 5 episodes or four? Let me see. This is episode 7 of the season.
Yeah, and it should be. Wasn't it supposed to be 12?
Yes, it is. It is 12. So let me see. Uh, AOT. Let me see. List of episodes. No. Do, 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 do. Yeah, this is. Okay, let's see. So this is episode. So that's Sunset. That's 82. Yeah, we have another 5 episodes, so to speak. Um, I can't. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see more of this. I kind of feel part of me feels that we're running out of time. But have you noticed that they're using as much screen time as they can because we didn't get an end credit sequence. Did you notice that?
No, I did not think about that.
We
Maybe it's
didn't.
because I will admit I never watch the endings as soon as the credits start. I
Well,
will admit that.
so we didn't go into. Thanks, Perp. Per showed us five more. So that they're using as much screen time as they can. Um, so they didn't do an end credits outro. They just kept playing the episode, and the credits were on top of it. So and then we had a post credit scene, and then we had the preview. So no, no, it's gonna end in five episodes. Like this is done. I mean, of course, they could go the movie route. Perp. I don't think they're gonna do that because it will kind of piss a lot of people off because they've already announced the part two is gonna be like the ending. And as a manga reader, I think that everything's flowing appropriately for it to end. Um, whether or not they keep the ending the same, which is kind of like the point of contention. Are they going to end it the same way? Which I would love them to do that. But again, we don't know because we all know, those that know the manga know that the ending for the manga was very controversial, but very Attack on Titan too. Now, um, I feel sorry for Armin, the fact that he feels that they picked the wrong person. Um, and going towards that comment that Perp did about the lack of leadership. The reason why this goes to the whole thing with Flock is that Flock is able to be this cult crazy lunatic because everybody or most people, as opposed to Armin, surprisingly enough, most people think that Eren has won, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's given up. Everybody thinks that Eren has won. He's going to destroy the world. There's nothing or anything you can do about it. Which, by the way, I do find it very, very crazy and interesting. The fact that throughout the entire episode, what was the background? Did you catch it?
No, I didn't, but I'm so bad at
No, no,
checking
you're fine.
details like you and Mike. So
No, you're good. The background was the rumbling. On every shot, it was the colossal titans walking. Like while Annie and Hitch were riding their hose, you would see the titans walking. So like the background, like they live in the time of the rumbling, and they're making sure that you know that the rumbling's happening. So like I like how they're keeping that as a silent killer. You know what I mean? Like this is happening in the background. Like you have all this story in front of you that's unfolding, all these
now
thoughts,
that
all
you
these
think about
ideas.
it,
Yeah, all these thoughts, all these ideas, all these power struggles, all these things, but the rumbling is still present. It's still there. You cannot not see the rumbling. Like it's there. And it's crazy because I like how they're thinking they're getting in our head, right? Like, hey, just so you know, yes, I want you to pay attention to this, but don't forget, this is out there. You know what I mean? Like you don't lose that sense of tension, which I found very interesting and very creative for the episode. But going back to that last comment with purpose, that is that Flock is able to get away with this, and people are not standing up to him because they think that Eren has won. So so whether Eren actually did reveal anything to Flock, because we don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Flock is just making it up. You know what I mean? Especially knowing that Eren didn't even tell Mikasa or Armin. Why would they tell Flock? You know what I mean? I don't see that
yeah.
happening. I see Flock being like the quintessential cult leader that's just looking, it's just seizing an opportunity to control as many minds as possible with fear. And then, of course, what does he do? What does he say when he's trying to quote unquote convert Gene? He says, freedom. Now we can be free. But of course, the freedom that Flock is talking about after he kills that guy is
Hold,
freedom.
hold.
The what?
Apparently there's going to be a movie for
No, that's
Attack
a
on
rumor.
Titan.
That's not official. That's a rumor. I don't think that's true. I don't
Let
think
me
that's and
check.
if that I think that's a rumor. I don't think that's official. And if it's official, I'm gonna cry. But even if there is a movie, I don't. But they'll lose crowds. But no, that's different. That's a different topic. Look for the information, Isaac. But we'll talk about it at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So the whole thing with Flock is him talking about freedom, but the freedom that Flock is talking about, and that's how you know that he's not really operating under Aaron, is because the freedom that he's talking about is freedom under slavery, which is the same thing as the Marlians, only with a cult angle to it, right?
Yeah.
Which is horrible. But it's like everybody's lost hope. Everybody thinks Aaron has won, so he's just seizing the moment. And how horrible is it, right? Gene is seeing this tragedy. Gene is seeing what's going on. Mikasa's seeing what's going on, and just like Perp said, like someone needs to stand up. And I think that moment's coming. That moment's coming where they're gonna stand up and do something about the situation in Paratus, but are they going to stand up to Aaron? That's the question. Are they going to stand up against Aaron? Is there anything they can do? I mean, of course, Reiner is somewhere knocked out, sleeping, right? Falco.
I mean,
So
can you blame him?
right, all the Titans are now out in the wild, which is a total of there's 6 Titans. We've got the Cart Titan, Colossal, Claw, Armored, Cart, and the female Titan. Um, I don't know. There's a lot that can happen. They're all dispersed. This feels like the beginning, like that middle section of the Avengers where they're all split up, right?
Yeah.
And it's funny how none of the Titans that were considered the good guys are the only ones that are around, and maybe the only chance to stopping the quote unquote hero and protagonist. The tables have turned.
I still, I still find it funny how Crunchyroll in their award season had the Eren in the best antagonist and the best protagonist.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense. You can be
I'm not
both.
saying that it's not making. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. I just find it kind of funny, all the things considered.
Yeah, true. True. Makes perfect sense. So perfect sense. So perfect sense. So
No, no, no.
now, um, we have
Agreed, perp. Agreed, perp.
yes, yes, 100%, 100%. And I need, and part of me has to go like, I can only imagine Aaron with a shirt saying, "Keep calm and enjoy the rumbling," like, like, like that dark kind of humor shirt. I would wear that shirt. Um,
Of course you would.
yes, I would. I know I'm horrible. Um, but yeah, man,
Of
that
course
there's
you
a
are.
lot that happened. There's a lot. There's a lot that happened in this episode that's good. Um, now the big reveal is something that everybody knew, but I think that so much happened that we all forgot about it. Because I'm gonna be honest, I was surprised. We just met up with Hanji and Levi. Of course, Levi's all fucked up, right? Because of whatever Thunder Spear madness Zeke did. And of course, he refuses to die, which is kind of
It's
like,
Levi, so it shouldn't be
yeah,
that surprising.
yeah. And I like how everybody is in this mode where like they've all lost hope and all that stuff, right? We got all that going on. But now, um, as Magath is losing hope, and Cart is losing hope. Suddenly, now Hange comes out of nowhere. Hey guys, what's going on? She comes out of nowhere, like,
Well, that's her in a nutshell.
but what I like about everything is that they're kind of bringing all these main characters together, and being that it's like because Aaron is the point of contention, or Aaron is the focal point. I like how everyone could be brought together, or hopefully brought together to find out what the next step is. But no, yeah, we got another 5 episodes. There's a lot going on. I'm so tempted to spoil the shit out of it, but I'm not gonna do it. um. Oh shit. Oh shit. Hey, hey. If anybody can do it, it's Levi. Bastards and Ackerman. All he has to do is smell Eldian blood, and then he'll get strong again. Okay, that was weird. Um, but yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like one of those things. Like, you know how in every mystery shows, like, unless you see the body, you can't believe the person died. Like, I feel that was kind of the reveal we got with Levi. It's like Levi was dead. You never saw a body. You know what I mean? You never saw a body. But yeah, it was a good reveal.
Insert the Persona 5 joke here.
Oh my god. Um, but
You
yeah,
never
Isaac.
saw it coming. Okay.
Last surprise. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah. So is there anything else you wanted to add on this episode?
Well, not that I can think of.
Now, you mentioned, you said now the movie thing is a rumor, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a.
I can't find an official source.
Yeah, it's. I don't think they would
I mean, it
prep
could
everything.
happen.
I mean, it could, but here's why I don't see it happening. Number one, as someone that's read the manga, we have enough time to wrap the story. I would think so, especially the way they've used the episodes, how they're expanding the runtime, especially as they're expanding the runtime, especially like using the credits or whatever. That's one. Two, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point towards the end they'll just pull a freaking Demon Slayer and like expand the duration of the episodes, at least towards the end, right? There's no reason why they couldn't do that, especially when they're trying to bring it to an end. Um,
Are you talking about the reason why they are having the break of a specific episode?
I think that might
Perp?
be. I don't know, Perp. I know that they're going on break like between the second to last episode. So for example, if I let me look at my calendar here. So we're gonna be so we got the 27th is one episode. Then we have 27th. Then we have the 26th. So we got so one on the 27th, one on the 6th, one on the 3rd, one on the 20th. Then it goes on break on the 27th, and then it comes back, and it's going to end in April 3rd. I don't know. Why would
If
go ahead?
honestly, if there's a panel about where Attack on Titan is going to be a part of it, I could see a movie or something be announced. Maybe something exploring more of the um, aftermath or something, as an epilogue movie or something.
I mean, it could be because if we remember properly, I mean, the last. Okay, I'm gonna show.
Without going into spoil, I'm just
Yeah, I mean, they
take
could.
one
They
that
could.
takes place. I was just thinking that something that take place after the final
Yeah, I
episode, going
see.
into no.
Yeah, Yeah, I see it being more of a Demon Slayer situation. That's the way I would see it happening. Like maybe they're taking a break because that last episode is going to be a longer than usual one because it's going to wrap
Could
up the
be.
series. I wouldn't
Could be.
I wouldn't I let me check something because I'm curious now. I'm curious now. Let me see. Let me see. Okay, that's kind of sneaky. Let's see. I'm looking something about dates because now I'm very interested in. So the interesting thing about it is I don't know if you guys know this, but the anime came out. Yeah, the anime came out in April. The first episode of the anime came out in April 7th. The manga ended in April 9th. So maybe they're just being coy. Yeah, maybe they're just being coy and they want to end the series in April.
That would be
Because
kind of ironic.
yeah, I wonder if that's what they're doing. Like they're just trying to make April where everything starts and everything ends. Because yeah, I see. I don't know why, but I started. Yeah, man. I maybe that's what they're doing. Maybe the month of April means something to Isayama. Now let me check something here. When did chapter one of Attack on Titan come out? Okay, so for the manga, it really doesn't mean anything. I mean, the manga came out originally in March 17th, but still, yeah, it's just weird. I mean, it's interesting. I don't know, Perp. I don't think we cracked anything right now, but still, I think
Maybe
it's
they're announcing a sequel also.
that's great. You know what? Let's talk about that. You think
We,
that if they were to
I
do a
think we should
sequel,
do. Yeah.
now this is great. Let's just do it right now. Let's just throw it out there, real quick, simple, not a huge discussion. If they would do a sequel, this is the kind of thing that I would love them to give the Game of Thrones treatment. Now, what I mean by that is that I don't really care about House of Dragons. I'm probably going to watch it, but I really don't care about it. But like if they do like a House of Dragons treatment for Attack on Titan for the Eldian Empire years, like after Emir dies, you know what I mean? Like as the other Titans were beginning to develop and
Yeah.
all that stuff, that would be like super interesting. You know what? I've never seen before with the fall. Is it? It's supposed to be good, right? It's supposed to be very good. Now see now. Damn it, perp! Now I want to read it. You know what? We can do that in the break. Like probably cover it before the fall and do a coverage on it. Okay, so so awesome. Attack on Titan, is so awesome. I can't believe it's coming to an end. I don't want it to end, but I want it to end so I can talk about it with everybody. Um, but yeah, so next episode's called Pride. It looks like Connie. It looks like Armin is going to catch up to Connie. Um, and something's going to happen with Flock, Jean, Mikasa, and all that stuff. So the plots are brewing, the plots are thickening, and the rumbling is just rumbling on its way. Um, I'm excited. Isaac, are you excited?
I rumble with excitement.
I don't know why, but I can see you in the music video, like rumbling with excitement, and all you have is Nintendo 64 controllers with rumble packs and just dancing around. Um, because we all know you still have your 64 with Rumble packs. We know this. It's a fact.
I mean, I wanted to try and beat Pokemon Stadium one day, and I
Oh my
haven't done
god.
that yet. But although I need to fix my memory battery for the Game Boy Color games, because clicking that game with only rentals is damn near impossible.
That was a lot of information. Before Fall takes 7 years before. Interesting. Damn it, perp. See, now I got to cover this. And I've always seen the book, and I know the book is a couple of volumes. Now I got to watch it. Now I got to read it. Damn it, I got to read it. Um, well, guys, that's our coverage for Attack on Titan. Perp, you are amazing and awesome. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully, when we do the series recap, you can join us. It would be awesome. But thank you guys for joining us on our coverage of Attack on Titan Chapter 82. Chapter 83 Pride is coming out next week. We're very excited to cover it. Very excited to keep talking final season, every single episode of Attack on Titan, every single Sunday. If you love what we do on the Amateur Taco Podcast, make sure to follow us on our YouTube channel, subscribe, click on that bell for notifications, hit that like button, and share with your friends so you don't miss any videos, any coverages, or anything like that. Isaac, if people were to try to find you, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me over at I work over at Wobam Entertainment, and you can find me on Emblemaniac. And our good friend Mike Thomas were unfortunately not able to join us this week, also due to Wi-Fi issues. But luckily, we were able to join in on a episode about or weekly My Hero Academia episode, which will uh, which will publish later this day slash tomorrow, depending on the time zone. It's the
Nice.
same. It's the same time as always. Monday 6 p.m. CET, which is, I don't know every other time schedule, but the usual time.
Nice. Nice. And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter and at the Scarlet 52 on Instagram. And also follow us at Amateur Taku Pod. See you later, guys. Have it awesome. Peace.
Peace.